Hi, and welcome back to SEO On-Air. I'm your host Aaron, and today we have Paul Staten, CEO of SEO Works, with us today. We talk about how you can stay updated in the SEO industry, how to balance your leadership roles with your daily responsibilities, the possibilities with AI in marketing, and so much more. I hope you enjoy this episode. But I want to know more about you, and you said you've been working weekends from before. What was life before SEO Works, and how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah. So before SEO Works, I really was, I was an entrepreneur at heart. In high school, I created a little web design company and I built websites. And I used to build in Flash actually, which of course is useless now. But so that was my first little business, and then um, I took a break. There was a 2-year thing that I did for my church, my religion, went and did a proselyting mission, and then came back and started working and did well. I first did the call center thing. Everybody gets some call center experience, and I was making reservations for Holiday Inn and Intercontinental and Crown Plaza hotels, and found out that I was really decent at sales. So from there, I went to Dex Yellow Pages. So good old Yellow Pages was kind of my beginning and my taste of marketing and what marketing could accomplish for businesses. I loved that this idea of a business investing money into an avenue and gaining a lot more business and gaining a lot more money. So that kind of started that love. And I also started a little computer repair business while I worked at Dex, and that computer repair business still exists today. It's over 15 years old now, and has one technician and just a few businesses that we service. But it's kind of fun that it's still out there. So yeah, still running, right? So after Dex, the Yellow Pages started decreasing, and there was a need to find something. Well, it was obvious, it was the internet that was taking over the Yellow Pages for where people would search and find companies. And so I left and joined another company that mainly did Google Ads, display, some social. And while I was there, I started to fulfill those services for an SEO company, a local SEO company. And these guys were, they were inspirational. Let's just say that. I kind of
saw heat anywhere.
Yeah. I saw what they were doing, and I thought, man, if they're being successful at doing this, because they kind of, in SEO, sometimes you can sell people a black box, and say, hey, just trust me, I'm going to take care of it. And then sometimes you pay an SEO company and they don't do anything at all. And I was thinking, like, that's just horrible. Like I wanted to start SEO Works to be different from what I saw. And so I started SEO Works, and anyway, we can get into the the startings of SEO Works, but back to your question of, what I was doing before. It was, just mainly really working on sales and finding business, working with business owners, finding solutions, and representing a product that could be a good investment for them. So
you've been technically in the field for quite a long time, and you've had your fair share of good agencies along with bad agencies. And I think it's fair to say also that you have pretty much raised from the ground up a good enough agency to handle whatever needs are there. But how do you personally, and along with the company, stay up to date with the latest trends in SEO?
Great question. We have a lot of members of the team now. I mean, we have, ourselves, we're almost up to 70 employees in the United States, and then overseas, mainly concentrated in the Philippines. We have over 90 people that help work on our campaigns. And so with that, there's a lot of people that are, in the news and finding out new things, or in the news, into what people are posting on Twitter and different things. There's one person specifically that has been kind of in charge of following those, reading up, testing, and figuring out what we need to do, going forward to make sure that our methodology is matching exactly what Google is wanting us to do. And so that's very important for us to make sure that we keep up with trends and what's going on. I'm always a fan of testing and making sure that if there's anything new and exciting that comes out that we can apply to our methodology, we want to do that. Just this past week, actually, we announced a big change to our SEO programs, just changing up the methodology a little bit and refreshing things, making it a little bit more flexible for our clients. Anyway, there's some fun things that happen there, but it's important for us to keep up on trends because that's our life, and frankly, that's our pleasure. We want to be the best value we can be for our clients. So this change that we made this week will apply to all of our, over 800 campaigns at this point. So they'll all benefit.
And I feel like the saying that you guys build your company on is be transparent, get results, and earn loyalty.
Yeah.
So the one way you can only do that is by constantly proving that you are worth what you say.
Yeah, you're right. And being transparent, that kind of goes back to that beginning of where we don't want to be a black box. Like our methodology is open book. Like you get to see everything that we're doing, and it's a checkbox. So being transparent about what we're doing and what the investment is doing for a business is very important to us. And then that leads to getting results. Just like you were saying, Aaron, was with, if you do the right things, you will get those results. And we love organic ranking increases. We love organic traffic, but ultimately we love pointing to business and connecting with business owners and talking about how this affected business. Because at that point, that's when you earn the loyalty. And some of those definitions around loyalty is, loyalty is when someone wouldn't go somewhere else, even though a service is offered somewhere else, that they're loyal. And that's our goal. We really want to, be that business that creates that relationship, can be, together for years and years to come and provide a great value.
And I'm assuming that when a client, let's say, gets hit with an algorithm update, when they do come to you for help, you're able to still reassure them that, hey, listen, everything is good. We'll still be able to get you out of this dark time. But can you give me let's say an example of that situation and how you were able to maneuver around it?
Yeah, there was a specific client that came to us a while ago with a manual penalty. This was a few years ago at this point, but they had a manual penalty. They were, deranked all over the place, and we were able to clean up. We have, link cleanup services, and we were able to clean up enough links to get that manual penalty removed and restore them back into the first page for their search terms, which was fantastic. That doesn't happen every time. We actually encountered another one just recently that they had just encountered some really bad black hat SEO, and we just told them, look, we could try. This one was just really, really bad. They were associated with a lot of really bad stuff. And we kind of assessed and said, hey, you're ranking for this and this, and you were ranking for this, but starting over, you're going to be a lot better off because you'll have a clean link portfolio. And anyway, so it's really consultative. We don't want to promise anything that we can't deliver. So it's important to, make sure that we can accomplish what we want, what we say we can.
I feel like a lot of clients, what they do want and look forward to is just the end result. And most of the time, the working and how they get there is what, to them or some of them, they don't really see or care about. They're just more happy that now I'm ranking on the first page of Google.
Yeah, you're right. That happens a lot.
So I was going to say, what are some, let's say, things you could probably talk to a client and convince him otherwise to stay on and, know that the long run is the way to go?
Yeah. So this is something that we encounter occasionally because business owners are so busy. They're busy running their business, so they don't have time to really dig into the SEO program with the SEO specialist and say, okay, what are you doing? So we are clear, we're very transparent, especially through our proposal process and contract process, to say, okay, this is what we're going to deliver. But it is valuable later on to refresh their minds. Maybe there's a quarterly review that you can just sit down and talk through. Hey, I just want to let you know what we're doing. And here's all the articles that we're writing. Here's the links that we're building. Here's the quarterly review that we did. Here's some technical optimization that we looked at. Here's our keyword map, and just pressing on that value. Something that, we've fallen into, and I think a lot of SEO companies fall into, is that comfortable place of where you do kind of prove that value, and then you just have a client paying you over and over and over and over and over. And it goes from 3 to 6 to 9 months, and then you just don't hear from anybody. I am of the opinion, and I push my team to make sure and have a lot of contact, at least monthly, to check in and reiterate. But going back to what you're saying about, they just don't know, and or they don't understand, and that's fine. But it is important to reiterate, I think, to earn clients for a long, long time.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I wouldn't say it's your job to, give them a basics 101 on how SEO can help you, but it does at least prove your case. Like, I know what I'm doing. Let me just do that for you and show you what I'm capable of.
Yeah. We're pretty report heavy in the first 2 months just because of that. We deliver these reports and we open them up, and the client's eyes kind of gloss over, and we say, look at all these things that we're doing. I'm here to help you understand as much as you want, but really, I just want to show that there's a lot of work that's going into this campaign.
Yeah. And I think in that aspect, you do lead from the front. You're not really just telling people what to do. You also kind of take in that role as well. Like, you also have done this for a while, so you can show them instead of just telling them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, starting out SEO Works, it was just me, and then I had a partner that joined me, and eventually we had a web development person that joined us as well, and then later on some more sales reps and whatnot. But really, in the beginning, it was just me.
So how do you then balance your, let's say, leadership role versus you, full-time taking part in the company? How are you really defining that?
Yeah. So right now, the leadership role that I have is a lot of times I'm meeting with my leadership team regularly, and that's what takes up a lot of my time, working on kind of high level things. Occasionally there'll be something that I dive into with a specific client, or, we have a couple of very large clients that I'm still involved with for sure. But for the most part, the team has been entrusted to take care of like account management and sales and things like that. So, we've been able to fortunately have some amazing people join the team and be able to help me continue to build this thing. So mainly right now it's, that leadership role is, making sure that they know that I'm continually watching and making sure that we're working on the company, bettering things, that the company is financially good, that, their paychecks are going to go through and everything's, going to get taken care of there. But, so that's mainly my responsibilities right now, working with leadership and just making sure that operations is working well, that sales is setting good expectations, that, our account managers, we call them client success managers, that they are taking care of the clients, reaching out every month. So just kind of on a high level, making sure the machine is working.
It's still processing and not having any kinks in the gears. So, I've heard quite a bit about the team technically from you indirectly, but with an amazing team, let's say there are moments of conflict. I'm assuming that it's most of all like a buttery smooth ride, but let's say that if there is a bump in the road, how does one really kind of clear that out and, mediate that kind of conflict?
Yeah, I think bumps in the road are really opportunities for growth. And that's for leadership team, that's for the team in general, teammates. That whenever something happens that somebody's unhappy about, and then they're really vocal or something like that, well, that's an opportunity for some coaching with their manager to sit them down and talk through it. Uh, Conflict resolution is a great thing. It's important to be able to talk through some of those things and work through them. So, yeah, I definitely welcome those types of discussions and talking through. All right, what's the experience? What are you looking at? And it's important to not take sides on those sort of things. One of my favorite books is a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's a very old book, but it's so fantastic. And that really teaches you to kind of step into the shoes of the other person and really understand their viewpoint, seek their perspectives. Exactly right. That's where you'll win over people to look for a solution that makes total sense, because there's a give and take with any conflict, right? There's a process, and one team doesn't want to do this and the other team needs this done. So then you look at it and you talk through, okay, what has to be done here and what's the best resolution? And if you are truly looking through their perspective, you can talk to them through their perspective and come to a great resolution.
I think that's where your hands-on experience comes into play, because if you're not really on the field with them knowing what's going on, it's going to be hard for you to kind of come up with a resolution from their angle as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest reasons that I'm able to help kind of guide the ship and help correct some of those things, is because I've been there. I've watched these things be done. I've done them myself. And looking for those solutions is valuable with that experience.
Yeah. And speaking of guiding the ship, how do you keep the crewmates motivated to carry on?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of motivation comes around. I mean, we're on continual growth mode right now. I mean, it's been really exciting. We had the largest sales month that we've ever had in the history of the company last month. Yeah, thanks. And so it creates a lot of excitement that way. There's a lot of new processes that we're putting in place that are exciting. There's different products that we've released in the past 6 months that give more flexibility and more opportunities for commission and growth and creating the right solution for the client. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities that way.
I was going to ask, what kind of company culture can one expect if they joined SEO Works?
The company culture is definitely we have a lot of autonomy. There's a lot of let's come to work, let's get things done, and then let's work hard and play hard sort of thing. And we really value the relationships of the team. So when we're interviewing, it's not uncommon for somebody to go through 1 and 2 interviews with kind of the hiring manager and then to meet the team before they're even hired, because it's important to kind of have that culture mesh that everybody kind of, there isn't anything really bad that's going to get in the way of the culture. And we've let people go because they weren't a good culture fit in the past. We'll continue to do that because we want to make sure and maintain that culture. But it's a good environment where we just take care of what we need to and have good friends at work and have fun. Yeah, it's a fun sport.
But if you had to choose between 2 employees, one who has the culture fit but maybe not the experience, versus one with the experience but might not be the best culture fit.
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah, we would choose the culture fit for sure. In the past, I've had employees that were amazing, technically experienced. They worked hard, but they just wore down the culture. And I've seen how that affects the work of other people. And And so it's important to make sure that the culture is preserved, because that's where we spend a lot of time at work. I mean, 8 hours every day, right? And it's important for us to go there and feel good. And if there's not a good culture fit and they're pushing their agenda and all these negative feelings are flying, it's, and I'm not saying that we don't have negative feelings ever, because that, like I said, that can be healthy. You work through conflicts and whatnot, but if there's a consistent problem with one certain person, even if they are just, technically amazing or a workhorse, then it just doesn't work. So I've experienced that in the past. It's definitely, in my eyes, culture is way more valuable than somebody with just tons of experience.
Yeah, and I was going to say that technically you can get to that point of understanding how well a person can fit that culture because of the years of experience you've had itself. Because it might be very difficult to see if they can fit if you just don't really know what to look for.
Yeah, I was just going to mention a lot of things in internet marketing can be trained. The technical aspects of SEO, Google Ads campaigns, social. I mean, there are a lot of fundamentals that you teach, and then the details is where you really have a lot of success with campaigns, or you can optimize them really well. So to have somebody that culturally fits well, and then to train them in those fundamentals, and then to watch, okay, let's get the technical side and the optimization side. That's really the gold mine right there.
And I think what's really helping that out is technically AI now, because you don't really have to know a lot about, I think, anything nowadays to be a little bit of a good pro in that.
Yeah, AI is definitely a great tool right now in internet marketing, for sure. It's a great time saver.
I was going to actually sidetrack into user and customer experience, but I felt we could maybe just slip in the AI for a while.
Sure.
Have you been using other AI tools in general? What is your thoughts?
Yeah, we've actually been utilizing AI tools for a little over a year now. So I would say we're probably kind of the early adopters, and we were applying it into, early on into content strategy, mainly because AI is beautiful at coming up with amazing topics and can help create an outline very, very easy. Can even help, write content as long as it's being proofread and fact checked. It can be very valuable content. So that's definitely been a great thing. We've also utilized it for creating social ads or Google ads, that text, because telling AI or asking AI to write an ad that's, that's convincing and professional about this, and telling it the character limit. I mean, it comes up with some really great things where, I'm not a writer, so creatively it really helps someone like me to pump out some great stuff.
Yeah. And I feel like, again, there's not much to be trained on to use AI. Like, if you basically knew how to use a computer, you should now know how to use keyword research in a way, maybe in like an older version of it. Or if you want to make social media content, like you said, emails as well, or just in general ads too. If you know the basics of it, you just need the tool to pretty much get you through to the next part.
Yeah, exactly. But
are there, let's say, projects ahead in the future that you plan to majorly just use AI?
Let's see, specifically, I mean, side projects. I mean, not specifically with with my company, but it's fascinating how it's really easy now to create, an AI avatar and have somebody talking, create a script, and then create a video from AI technology, like shorts and content. Anyway, that fascinates me. If I was doing nothing right now, that's all I would be doing. It's just pumping out content and figuring out, how to create an amazing YouTube channel or Instagram following, just because I'm so fascinated at how easy it is.
I guess if you do have the free time, you can probably dive into that avenue.
Yeah. If I had the free time right now, that's what I'd be doing. But
We can hope and wish for that.
Someday.
One thing that I have seen in AI is the good side and the bad side. Like if we do have ChatGPT providing you content and research material, we have things like Chaos GPT, which will give you a very chaotic AI is going to dominate the world type answers. And that's just I think a very plain example. There are obviously more heinous crimes being done with AI tools. But how do you see the ethics being involved with, let's say, in relation to search and Google?
Yeah. So I actually love, I was just recently attending a conference I just recently attended a conference in Austin, Texas, that was a big SEO conference, and there was a Google representative there. And he was talking about how AI can produce good things. And that's where he basically boiled it down to just two things. Like, it's great to have AI, rewrite a blog for you or whatever. But the important thing is it needs human touch. You have to proofread it. You have to make sure that, you're changing things to your voice or a human voice. And then secondly, you have to fact check it. So the biggest fear of Google search engines, us, is that there's going to be a ton of content put out there into the internet with bad facts. Because we've all experienced where we've had AI write a blog post or write something and the facts are just off, so outdated mainly, right? Mainly because of that limitation. I think that we just got to be careful with that. What damage does that do? If there's people that just believe that, the internet is truth. Anything you read on the internet is truth, right? And if they're going into these AI articles that were generated that way and have these bad facts, that's where I think
doing more harm,
get into trouble. Yeah. Hopefully in the future, we just make sure and realize that and look for a couple sources, or try to fact check more and more, because AI it's dangerous that way for sure.
And let's say in terms of the top 3 AI tools, which I'm just going to name the big ones, the ChatGPT, Bing AI, and Bard, which I don't know if it's fully released yet or if it's still in the trial. Have you used all 3 or one or the other?
I personally use ChatGPT and Bing, but Bard, no. The team has used others as well. There's text ad writing tools. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. There's others like Jasper.
Pretty much you say anything and add .ai or IO to it and you have another tool ready to go.
Yeah, what's interesting is we're starting to see a lot of companies use .ai. I just actually ran into a display company that had a .ai, and I asked the question, well, what AI are you using? And it was like, oh, well, we're really not, we're not using AI. It's just really people, using it. So, it's interesting to watch the trend of, if I put AI close to my name, somebody's going to think that I have some magic secret sauce. I'm glad that they were honest about it. And, but you're right, like that.
But will we know for sure though? Because they could have made their design could be done through Midjourney probably.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll take the 2 then, Bing AI and ChatGPT. What do you think are the pros and cons, just based on your experience? We're not trying to make anyone an enemy out of you by saying that this is what you say is AI's good and bad side. But out of your experience, what do you think the pros and cons are?
Yeah, pros. There's a lot of great uses for AI. I've personally used it for kind of that creative side that I lack. I'm a numbers guy. I'm a data guy. I'm logical. So a lot of times I have a hard time coming up with creative things. So I have definitely used AI to help me create ads for sure. I've had the AI help me create responses to reviews, for example. I've had AI help me with I remember trying to come up with like a tagline of some sort and used AI for that. I remember trying to come up with specific name for something. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for a name that is close to this, that has Greek mythology, blah, blah, blah. And boom, I had this list of awesome suggestions that I just never would have thought of. So I think the really, really, really great part of AI is that creative side. And I am so excited to see videos and, more video content and avatars, things like that. I think that's really cool. Dangerous side is where I think people might rely on it a lot more than they should probably. I think it's super dangerous for our academic life. Like I am scared to death to introduce. I have a kid in junior high, and I'm scared to death to introduce AI to him. Right? He was doing an assignment the other night, and I was sitting here helping him, and I'm like, man, I could do this assignment in like 3 seconds with AI. Like, just ask the question, hey, could you formulate a response to this question? Boom, AI.
I'd write it like you're a child.
Yeah, but write it. That's exactly right.
Good to go.
Write it like I'm in 4th grade, right? Or whatever. Boom, it's gonna produce something awesome. So I think that's the dangerous part. I mean, our academic, at least the way that we have academics set up right now, it could destroy it, or invalidate it, where you're assuming that people know things that they don't know. Less on
kind of cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
If there was, let's say, a moment where actually, I'll take that back 1 second. You did mention that it adds on to creativity. Let's say if you want a creative person, it can give you that spark to create something for you. But what if it starts to take away that creativity? Like you mentioned that people start depending on it more. What if people no longer have that creative spark in them, and they just directly go to that because it can provide them the creativity part?
Yeah, they can start getting lazy.
Yeah. So would there be like a hack to get out of that circle?
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. I think that could be a big disadvantage of stretching brain power, right? I probably lost something when I didn't sit down and try to write those ads by myself or come up, with a creative name. But I don't know. It's that's a hard one to answer, I think.
Yeah, it is a slippery slope also, because I also have been using AI to the max. I've been trying to organize bowling events, pub crawls, just basic stuff in general that I thought AI could help me out in. And after some time, I was like, am I being creative, creating these ideas, or is an AI tool pretty much doing everything and I'm just adding in inputs? And it got me into a really weird, creative, who am I anymore?
Yeah, that reflective moment of like, am I letting this machine take over my life?
Yeah. So I think the ultimate question that I'm trying to get at, to, let's say, tie the bow on this AI topic, is where do you see people and AI 2 to 3 to 5 years from now?
Yeah, great question. I think that people will keep pushing the boundaries, right? Like AI is going to continue to find ways to be utilized in our lives. But I also think that reality is setting in a little bit, because everyone has kind of experienced it now and said, oh, well, is it going to help me create a master thesis? Well, no. I mean, the facts are going to be totally off. And if you published a paper like that and one fact was off, I mean, that's could be disastrous. So, but can it help you with random homework? Yeah, it could. So I think
5 years from now.
Yeah, I know. And
everyone's getting into
I mean, that's hard to judge. Like we're just celebrating our 10-year anniversary next month at SEO Works. And
advance congratulations for that.
Thank you. And it's amazing to see what has happened in 10 years. Like, just to think of another 10 years is almost unimaginable with the way that advertising is working right now, the way that marketing works. And so, yeah, it's hard to imagine, because I think as people get more and more advanced, I'm sure that people right now are programming AI to be able to build a Facebook campaign, for example, and automatically do it, like do the inputs, take care of creating the ad and just pumping out, the right ad, and then having AI automatically optimize the campaign based on results. I mean, I love that. I think that's going to be pretty amazing. And
I was going to say that I think technically is already out. There are some tools out there that are like extensions to ChatGPT where you just input, let's say, the title or the keyword, and then it'll pump out the entire campaign for you.
Yeah. So creating the ads for sure, like the content plan, the ads. I'm just saying, like, the human interaction part of it, like the actual creating of the campaign and putting it in and setting budget levels, and anyway, all that stuff. I mean, that's kind of our future that we have to look at as well. How many jobs are going to be taken over by robots and AI,
or how many jobs would be improved by AI.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to keep an optimistic look on it.
Exactly. How much more efficient are we going to become, and then have other opportunities for other jobs to expand, and more research jobs, and more. Anyway, there's a lot of great positive things, I think.
It kind of gave us quite a scare because we kind of create a lot of content, and when we started using AI, the first thing all our writers were like, is this the end of us? Are we getting our last month paycheck and we're good to go? And we reassured every one of them, and listen, we still need you to put in the inputs. If anything, you're going to make your work a lot easier. You will have more a work-life balance as well. But it got more scarier when AI got more developed, because now even for our green screen video, it's now a click of a button and it's technically gone because AI has taken care of that too. So our video editor also was like, hey, listen, do I have to start looking for a new job? And we're like, no, it's still, we still need you. We have to cut it also. So while there is like many developments, I think that it's normal to have that fear. But at the same time, our job as like leaders in this field, we do need to just reassure our team and our company that, hey, nothing is going to be replaced. No one's dying in any way. We're just going to now amp up what we are currently anyway doing.
I mean, that we mirrored what you guys did. I mean, it was when we had that come out, it was like, okay, you have normal attrition, and basically what we said is we're just not going to hire anyone right now, but as people attrition out, then, we're going to expect a little bit more work output. But yeah, it was kind of a little bit of a relaxed time at work for a while, because, if the requirement was, 10 pieces of content a day, well, now all of a sudden you can do twice as much, anyway.
Yeah. And you're not really like compromising on quality in any way, because you still have someone proofreading and editing.
Exactly. And we did get to cross-train a lot as well. So it opened up opportunities where people had, half their day open, and we could, have them watch courses online and connect with others to be cross-trained on things. So there was a big advantage there.
It's a good thing that you mentioned cross-train, because I'm going to try to do a really long stretch over here. But same thing happened with us too, where we had more free time with our teams to take up other work. And one area that most of them wanted to get into was social media. That was a long stretch.
Yep.
So social media is something that you are kind of experienced, and you've done a few presentations on it as well. I think in specific, it's SEO tools and how to kind of get your social media marketing results to the best. So let's start with the first one then. What is your take on social media in general, and what are some of the tools that can help you get to that goal?
Yeah, great question. So, on social media, there was, of course, that point in time in SEO where, I would say it's about maybe 8 years ago, where SEO was like, social was like the new SEO. And so we got super familiar with tools to post on social media. We posted everywhere. And then we saw that Google really wasn't caring. So we switched focus, back to a lot of other activities, offsite link building, things like that to increase rankings. But social media can definitely be a great benefit to a company. And it's interesting because it's even evolving in short periods of time. Like, just in the past couple of years, it really has become a thing where, as a service-based business, if you're not boosting posts, they're not getting seen at all. So one thing that I would just mention that could be a great piece of advice is just put a couple bucks behind every single post. They'll just get seen so much more, especially if you're making any effort in social media and getting things pushed out first. So boost them with $2, $5, something like that. It'll get a lot more traction. But yeah, as far as social media tools, I mean, there's quite a few tools out there to kind of manage on a high level, and some of even the SEO tools that are out there that can help out as well. So yeah, I mean, any specific tools that we want to dive into and applications, or
well, I was hoping you can give us, let's say, the top 3 that you would recommend.
I mean, on social, I guess this is a hard one, because with social being social and SEO being SEO, I've been creative and saying, hey, here's a couple things that you can do with social and SEO. So I kind of will always tie it back to SEO. So for example, like Majestic, majestic.com is a great place to look at, your link portfolio and see what these social platforms are giving you as a link building reference. And you can get some similar things from like SEMrush and gap analysis with competitors, for example. It's a great place to go to identify some of those social media outlets where you can grab some really low-hanging fruit compared to some of your competition. For example, we just ran one just the other day, put in some competitors and had our client and ran it, and we saw like the Better Business Bureau was one that they just hadn't registered for, but all of their competition had. So I'd maybe put that into a social side of things, but that was just one example of a tool that can be used for that.
Or let's say, I mean, besides ChatGPT also helping at social posts every now and then, to give you a little context, I used to work in a company that also handled, let's say, content in general, just news articles, and I had to do social media for them. But the only metrics that they kind of asked me to measure were the basic likes, shares, and comments. So to, let's say, someone who is actually experienced and knows what they're talking about, how do you actually measure a social media campaign?
That is a great question.
And I can try taking that in writing to give it to my previous company and be like, see, this is exactly what I did.
Well, it's a hard question because I haven't been plugged into social as much lately. So my mind goes to some tools that I've used in the past, but I don't know if I have a super great answer for that to really recommend and say, yeah, this is the one-stop shop, or this is the go-to. In fact, I don't have confidence to say that about any specific platform, because we've had experiences, and there's pluses and minuses of of a bunch of them. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I'm the best to talk through some of those.
It's fine. I think the best answer is it depends on what your goals are. We've heard that on a lot of occasions.
Yeah, that's true.
We just use that.
Sure.
But in terms of, let's say, social media advertising, like you said, boosting posts. So what are some of the, let's say, key tactics you would use to create an effective ad? What is really catching the eyes of these users?
So creative is still really, really important. It's always been important to have creative that catches the eye. Sometimes pictures that you think will be amazing don't perform nearly as well as others, and it's important to have variations, right? Even small variations have made a huge difference in the past for us, moving the call to action from this corner of the ad to this corner, and just trying things out is really where you can make good differences. And most of the time when you're in social media campaigns, you're really kind of looking for the best cost per interaction, and some of those changes can really help. So be willing to mess with creative, changing the wording here and there, putting, sometimes it's weird stuff. Like you just don't think that it's going to change, improve the ad. And this is again where chat or some of those tools will really help with creating variations.
User and customer experience. I don't think I can find a segue to bridge the two topics, but we'll probably maybe edit it in and figure it out.
Sounds good.
Could you give us an example of how you've, let's say, created a customer experience and how exactly another person should, implement that kind of plan?
So, and I guess, are you talking specifically with how, like, on a high level, we're scaling the customer experience, or do you want like a specific, this customer, it was their experience and this was inspiring and helpful because of XYZ?
Is it too much to ask for both versions?
No.
All right. Cool. All right. Awesome.
Okay. So to dive into that answer, so first off, the customer experience on a very high level, this is kind of where my concentration is a lot today, because we have over 800 campaigns that we're running and responsible for the results of all of them. So this is where we've implemented sort of these touch points that the account managers need to reach out, and they're held accountable for these touch points to reach out monthly and to connect with their clients. And they're really encouraged to bring one positive thing every single month, looking through the report, just share something that looks positive. And again, kind of going back to what I was saying before of establishing the value of what we're doing. If they haven't had that conversation of how is your business feeling? Do you see what organic is bringing you? Do you recognize that your website is doing a lot better now? Those need to happen very, very early on. We aim to have those conversations between that 3 and 6 month mark, because then they're loyal. They see the value. The other thing that's important is just frequent looking at the campaigns. So, for example, we have quarterly reviews of SEO campaigns, and just looking at tweaks and what else can we do, and just always keeping on top of our game. We don't want to be lazy about SEO campaigns. So that on the SEO side of things, that's the customer experience that we want. We want them to know that we're still working. They're not just paying us to pay us. There's a lot to continue to do. So that's kind of the high level answer. On specifically with specific clients, I mean, there's plenty of experiences where I've had the experience to sit down and go through that customer experience on a micro level. For example, we used a tool called CallRail to track calls. We've been able to export form fills. And so with that customer experience being so valuable or being a priority, when I've sat down with them and said, hey, look at what we brought you. Do you see the value of what we're bringing? And then it makes that connection and again, earns that loyalty. This is why we still have our very first client that we ever signed on. The very first one is still with us 10 years later.
Okay, let's say throughout the 10 years, you've still maintained that one client.
Yeah, they had a marketing manager that was hired, and they canceled services for about 4 months, and then they were back. And
it's been full runnings ever since.
Yeah, full runnings, exactly. So yeah, really just boiling down to, customer experience. It's important to connect on what's important for them. So as far as getting these form submissions or these leads or these calls, what is important for you? We just had another revamp of a campaign for a personal injury attorney, and they were getting a lot of leads. This is a case study worthy campaign, but they were upset, and we're like, all the numbers are amazing. What's going on? Well, there was a specific type of case. They wanted more auto cases. So that helped us guide the campaign and create a better experience for them.
I mean, that in that case, it does really help to fully understand what exactly you are, who you are helping out and what they need.
It's important with the onboarding process to go through that needs analysis really, really well. Why are you hiring us? What do you expect? How can we earn your business forever? And if you have those answers, then you're set.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to what we initially started off, which is be transparent, get the results, and then you can earn that loyalty.
That's right.
But to also go back to something we talked about, with social media doing quite a bit of numbers nowadays, where it's kind of necessary now to get your brand out there with social media, customers have enough power to, let's say, take or break a brand. So how do you, let's say, monitor customer feedback? How do you kind of improve the customer experience that way?
Well, and I might disagree a little bit with what you're saying about, this can make or break a brand. With social media, the way that we've seen it be used recently, there are good ways for businesses to interact on social media, and then there are worthless ways. They can waste a lot of time and resources on social media if they don't have a clear plan or do it the right way. So I would say if there is a clear plan and a clear payoff that you are looking for social media, and you talk to someone that has experience in social media and confirms that that is a good plan, then execute it and go after it, right? But measure it to the KPIs that you need to. I mean, if you're just looking for branding and pushing things out there and staying live on social media, I guess that's a goal that you can achieve. But social can really be a powerhouse to dig into or to tap into, and if it's done the right way with the right plan.
So I think what I'm trying to get at is more of when a customer is trying to, let's say, make a decision based on whether or not they should choose a business. If they do come across your social media account or just online reviews in general, and they do see that there are, let's say, comments that have not been answered to or negative reviews that have not been addressed, it might throw them off.
Totally.
So what would be the way that you could not throw them off or get them back into, reel them back in, basically?
Yeah, and that's a great point. It is very obvious that you'll want to respond to anything negative, respond to reviews, respond to positive and negative reviews. Just, you do want to make sure and be, social that way. Make sure that interaction is out there and that connection can be made. But yeah, I mean, that's something you can do. We're very consultative when a business comes to us and says, hey, we want to do social media. It's like, why? All right, let's talk about that. Do you have the right mindset? Because if it's leads, it's not social media, depending on what business you are. E-commerce, yeah, all day long. Let's do social media campaigns. But if you're a plumber and you want leads, like, all right, let me show you some low-hanging fruit to get some leads. Tap into this first and then go to social.
I feel like a lot of people get into social because that's what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
But if you, like you said, put out that good question of why are you doing it, it kind of clears things up for them.
That's right.
We have also spoken a lot about technology and AI and everything. So do you see AI or just in general, the new age technology kind of helping out the customer experience, either making it easier for you to determine what is good or just making the experience altogether more seamless?
It's an interesting question because my mind goes to chat, right? Like a chat box and having AI man a chat box. But again, if it was based on only input from the business and you could somehow get like a manual written and give it to AI that would be very accurate, then I think that could be applicable. But without something like that to reference, I think AI would just pull random answers. It wouldn't be very dependable. So I think that, we'll still need to depend on like chat bots the way they are right now, the interaction of frequently asked questions, things like that. Or businesses could get in trouble for misrepresenting themselves or giving wrong answers or stuff like that. So, but we'll see. 5 years from now, AI could be very, very advanced and then really help us with customer experience.
Right. In terms of automation as well, or just mainly the creative side of it?
I think automation as well, right? Like 5 years from now, maybe there's a way that I could hook into a specific program that my customer could say, hey, I don't like this ad. And the AI just like, oh, cool. Let me come up with a new one for you. Here, what do you think of this? Boom. Yeah, that looks good. Boom. It implements it in the campaign, right? And then it's just done like that. Anyway, could happen.
Right, let me just take a note and put that in the ChatGPT, ask them to make code for it. And then
right
within a week, you're good to go. You have your own. Thank you so much for getting on the call and having technically a little bit longer than 1 hour.
Yeah, it's been lots of fun. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate you hosting and going through questions and listening to me carry on and on and on about all the fun things.
It was more than a pleasure to do that.
Thanks for watching that episode. I hope you enjoyed. For more videos like this, make sure you like and subscribe.